Good evening and welcome to our Parent Academy, Achieving Student Success in a Remote Setting. My name is Myra Logama and I'm the Director of Technology for South Holland School District 150. And I'm joined tonight by our presenters, Ms. Ayanna Perkins, Assistant Principal, Ms. Shannon Coffey, Math Teacher, and Ms. Beth O'Shea, ELA Teacher. And now I will turn it over to Ms. Ayanna Perkins.
Good evening, seventh grade parents. Again, welcome. I am so pleased that you all decided to spend your time with us this evening. We will not keep you long, so we will just get started with the presentation. As people come in, Ms. Lokma, you can just let them in. All right, so we've done our welcome, our introductions, and here is our agenda. I will go through the purpose of the meeting, do an overview of the current grades. Going forward, what does 8th grade look like in the PSAT? Our expectations for your child, the resources that we have available for you, and our next steps. Last but not least, we will end with just sharing some information about our 5 essential survey that we would love our parents to complete, and then we will have a question and answer session. So just to be brief, I have been in the district for the past 13 years. I started off as a 7th grade teacher, so I'm a little partial to that group of students. I'm now serving in the capacity as an assistant principal, and I've been in that role for the past 6 years. It is my hope that one day in the very near future that we will be honored as a National Blue Ribbon Award school. And I believe it's possible with the staff that we have, with the motivated students and our supportive parents to do that. I just know it's going to take a village mentality to get that done. And I know collectively we can accomplish that goal. One of my favorite quotes comes from Brother Malcolm X, who says, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." And that is ultimately my goal, to prepare your children, our students, for tomorrow, for the future. As stated, we have, sorry, I skipped a slide, Miss Coffey. She is our 7th grade math teacher. Miss Coffey teaches both honors math as well as regular math. She has also provided a short bio for you. I'll give you about 10 to 20 seconds to read it over. But she has a wealth of knowledge and she's an incredible math teacher. We also have Miss O'Shea joining us. She is a 7th grade ELA teacher. As you can see, she has been with the district for many years. She is also incredibly motivated, always looking for the next thing she can do to help her students. She's also incredibly technically savvy. So we look to Miss O'Shea for a number of things, ELA and technology. So if I have a problem, I know Miss O'Shea will assist me in this meeting tonight. All right, so down to business. Why are we here? What is the goal for the Parent Academy? Basically, our goal tonight is to help our parents understand our scheduled day, to explain our expectations of your child, and to share information with you all that will, where you can support your child in their learning. Why is it important? Well, first and foremost, of course, grades. As the assistant principal, it's my job to pretty much monitor our grades and assess the students and see if they need additional support, see if they should be placed in honors classes, see if they're prepared for 8th grade, basically. And I do this, of course, with other administrators, but it is my primary focus to take a look at the students' grades and adjust their schedules accordingly. Right now, looking at our 7th grade scores, I know we can just simply do better, just bottom line. So I thought it was important that we open ourselves to the parents to give you some ideas on how we can make it better. Also, as our students prepare for 8th grade, I wanted to make you aware that our 7th grade students will be taking a placement test in the fall. So my goal is to get them prepared now before the fall session happens in 8th grade. That test generally takes place in about October. So they would have really only had a few months with their 8th grade teacher for preparation. And that's why it's important that we kind of focus on it now. Also, the high schools generally ask our 7th grade teachers for letters of reference or recommendations. They go back to the 7th grade teacher and say, how did this student perform? What were their, just how did they perform in class overall? Did they push themselves? What didn't they do? What were their strengths? What were their weaknesses? So I think it's important that we start pushing them now in 7th grade. Also, we are responsible for the IAR test, which is the state assessment, which is college and career readiness. And I just want to make sure that our 7th graders are prepared for that. Last but not least, the purpose of this is to just restate that it takes a village in order to get the success that we want from our children. So 7th grade academics, I'm going to show you something that may be alarming to some, but I don't want you to be alarmed. We have 112 7th grade students. In our first quarter, we had 56 students receive at least one F. They could have had more, but at least one F. However, we had 56 students that did not receive an F at all. 33 of our students made the honor roll and 3 were distinguished, all A's. Then I took a look at quarter 2. In quarter 2, 44 of our students received at least one F. However, 68 students did not receive an F at all. 38 of our students made the honor roll and 6 were moved up to distinguished, all A's. So I ask you, I just want to pin this to you. Do you see the glasses half empty or do you see the glasses half full? And I just want you to think about that. I want you to know though, that most of those F's parents were simply missing work. It was not that our students were incapable of doing the work. It's not like I saw a lot of assignments which were 2 out of 10 or 20 out of 100 or 40 out of 100. Literally the F's came from zeros, missing assignments, just not submitting anything. And I just want you to be aware that, they don't have to be F's if we can get them to submit assignments. Also, I want you to think about 8th grade. As I stated, they will be taking a placement test. The PSAT test will be given to them in the fall of 8th grade. Some schools might not do a placement test. 205, which is our feeder school, they actually did do a placement test with our students. They shared those results with us just the other day in one of our meetings, in our articulation meetings. And the students did okay in math, but they did not perform very well at all in English. And so they are calling our staff to get recommendations. Where should we place these students? Because we don't think that they performed their best on this assessment. Again, high schools are going to ask 7th grade teachers for letters of recommendation. Due to the pandemic, they may or may not ask for a placement. I know one district that did not, but 205 did. So I just want to make sure that they are prepared for that 8th grade placement test. And last but not least, of course, the state assessment is looking to see if our students are at grade level. So I asked the question, you don't have to answer it. Is your child ready to move to high school right now in this current state? The PSAT exam, I share this with you to show you what McKinley students generally do. These are other sender schools that feed into the 205 district. That's Thornton, Thornridge, and Thornwood. And I want you to see that our McKinley students outperform the other neighboring districts in ELA. This was a 2018-2019 scores. And here they ranked 2nd in math, only behind Walcott. And we tend to say, well, Walcott has smaller classes, but I am certain our kids will more than likely raise the bar and exceed Walcott, even with smaller class sizes. I just know it because they've been doing it. So I really want to keep that tradition alive. I want this group to be as successful as all the groups that came before them. Life skills. I share this slide only because when I looked at what the World Health Organization says about life skills, they say that there are 10 life skills that every individual needs to help them deal effectively with the demands and challenges of life. And when I look over these things, I see so many of them that occur in the classroom. Things like problem solving and decision making, critical thinking, creative thinking, interpersonal relationships, self-awareness, just knowing who they are, right? Empathy, caring about other people, good communication. All of this comes from the classroom. Managing stress and management of emotions, that may come from home, but I'm sure there are some that can be done in the classroom. So when I mention life skills, I just want to share that this is important right now, what they're doing. Even in the midst of a pandemic, I don't want them to lose sight of what they are gaining overall. Yes, they're doing math assignments. Yes, they're doing reading assignments, but each of those assignments brings with them a life skill that they are going to need. They need to know how to problem solve. Whether they become mathematicians or not, they have to figure out things in life. And so that's why I shared this slide with you. So moving forward, what do we need each party to bring? Because here's a picture. It's a village mentality, right? And so what does each person need to bring to the table? So right now in this situation, this is all I'm asking from our parents for our students to do. I need our students to log in every day for class, and I need them to come ready for work. Simple request. I know it's a challenge, but I don't want them to feel like I don't have to. School is still going on and I really want them there. When they come, I want them to be active participants in class. Ask questions. Some of them are a little shy. I get it. I go into classrooms and it's silence. The teacher is talking to themselves the whole time and the kids are kind of typing in the text, typing in the chat. And I'm like, no, speak, unmute yourself. I want you to talk. And more importantly, I really want them just to complete all assignments. For the most part, every class in 7th grade, they are doing the work in the classroom during that class period. So if your child is logged in, they're going to get the work and they're going to get the support from that teacher while they're there. Now, of course, math requires practice. So I expect them to have some math homework assignments. But for the most part, any of the other classes that you see, if they have homework, it's probably because they didn't finish it in class or, they just didn't want to do it. If they log in and they are with their teacher, they're going to get most of their work done and we will not have these F's on the report card, I promise you. Also, turn on their cameras. They don't have to do it. It's not a requirement, but for like testing quizzes, we would like for them to do that so we can monitor what they're doing better. And yes, they can use their books and their notes on their test. This is not a trick. Sometimes they're given the information for the test and then our students don't even use it for the test. I don't see why they would not perform well on the test when generally the test is taken from the information that they're given. I want them to put forth a little bit more effort. We are still in school. And I'm not asking you to ask your child to do anything that I have not already asked of my own child. These are the same conversations I have in my household. I tell her I can take an F or a D if you didn't perform well on an assignment. I can't take an F if you just chose not to do it. And so I treat the children in McKinley just like I would treat my own child. So complete the current assignments before you say, can you open up, my assignment from 3 weeks ago? Just complete what we have right now. And also meet with your teacher during office hours. They have office hours Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for almost 2 hours. And oftentimes I don't see students in there. It's just dead space. And sometimes I see 1 or 2, but that's an opportunity for them to get work done. That's an opportunity for us to try to close this achievement gap by giving them practice on the skills that they need. That's an opportunity for them to ask questions before a test. So I really want them to use that time after lunch. I believe wholeheartedly that it takes a village to raise a child. So parental support. Parents, I just ask if you can embrace that this is where we are right now, right? Encourage your child. I know we're here. It's not the end of the world at this point. It seems like it's going to get better. You can do this. That's all I want you to do. Just put those words of encouragement in them. If it's possible, if you can provide a quiet space for them where they can focus. I know there are some households that have multiple people in the house. The parent is working from home, the children are working in the same space. I get that. But if it's possible, if you could, I want you to provide a space where they can focus and have it a little quiet. Provide a schedule for them. You know, they still got to go to bed on time and get up and get ready for class. Here's my biggest one. Monitor bi-weekly. I would suggest logging into PowerSchool on Wednesday and Sunday and just look at the grades and say, you said you turned this in. It says a 0, you know, because the teachers are constantly upgrading and putting grades in the system. So if you monitor at least twice a week, you will catch if something is not completed. And last but not least, words of affirmation all the time. You know, give them praise, kudos, high fives every time they do something, you know, well, like we would do any other time. You know, if you cleaned your room, sometimes they get a reward. If they don't clean their room, then they get a consequence. And after you've done all of this, if this does not work, I want you to reach out to us for social work assistance, because at the end of the day, depression is real. And if your child really can't get past this, they are really struggling, you know, you have done all that you can, then it might be time to take it to another level. Your pediatrician can refer you to, you know, a psychiatrist. There's nothing wrong with that. We have social workers in the building we can assign them to, because I don't want them to feel defeated in the midst of this. We will get past it. We just have to keep moving forward. And what do I expect my teachers to do? Everything. Teach them the skills they need to know. Provide clear goals and expectations. Use questions to make sure they understand what you are covering. Provide timely feedback. Give them opportunities to make corrections, to fix it if they don't do it right the first time. Try to be as engaging as possible, even in a remote setting. Try to build relationships. We ask our teachers to check on our students. When they check in, how was your weekend? You know, what did you get into? They're not really being nosy. They're just really trying to make connections and bond with your child. And also be available for our students and our parents. I'm going to pass this over now to Ms. O'Shea. She is going to go through some of the resources that we have. And I appreciate that you all are being so attentive and listening through this presentation.
All right, good evening. I am Miss O'Shea. I'm just gonna run through just a couple things about PowerSchool. Ms. Perkins just asked that you check your child's grade bi-weekly. And if you do that, then you can catch right away, you know, missing work, so that a child doesn't feel like they fall so far behind that they cannot dig themselves out. And I think that that's what we run into. There was a question posed in the chat, and I'll just kind of address that real quick, just about class and how it runs, so that you guys understand how we kind of structure. When we're in the building, you know, the actual brick and mortar school, and we're teaching, I have a class that is normally 60 minutes. And so I don't teach like standing in front of the room for an entire 60 minutes every single day. I mean, that would just be a lot of Ms. O'Shea talking. I teach a lesson, and then the kids have either group work, or they have independent practice, or whatever the case is. And typically whatever they wouldn't finish in class may become homework, or they might have additional practice. The way that we've kind of modified that for this year along subject areas is, at the beginning of class, we do like a bell ringer, an introductory activity, and then we go ahead and we jump right into the lesson. So I will teach a lesson, and then they will have, sometimes it is 40 solid minutes to get work done. I say, if you don't understand, private chat me, put it in the chat, because somebody else might have that same question, whatever the case may be, and they have that time. Is every assignment going to get done in that time? No. Sometimes I have to say, all right, let's adjust. I'll give you a little bit more time tomorrow. All right. And so, no, we don't expect it all to be done. I'm going to tell you right now, none of my work should have to be done outside of class. Everything my kids are assigned, I have made it so that they can get it done during my 60 minutes, right? And so I'm hoping that that clarifies for you, because we understand mom and dad probably work all day long. They don't want to have to come home and sit down and work all night helping their child catch up. We understand how difficult this is. And so checking PowerSchool regularly, contacting your child's teacher is going to help us to make sure that they're staying on track. So I did put over here, and this whole presentation will be shared on our district webpage. You guys will be able to click on this parent portal creation instructions. Most of you should have a creation or a parent portal created already, because you used it to register for school last year. So you should already have access to PowerSchool and your children's grades. In order to access their grades, you guys will see this screen that's up here at the top. You will just find your child's class. You'll hover over the quarter and the grade that you want to see, and then the screen below will pop up. At the bottom here, I went ahead and just kind of put the different, I don't know, what are these called? Someone throw it out there for me, coffee. The different symbols that we will see in the grade book. So if an assignment has a comment, you guys will see the kind of, it looks like the text bubble. If an assignment's late, it's the red clock. The missing assignment is the one that everybody needs to pay attention to. That is the orange exclamation point. If something is completed, they've done some work, but maybe they didn't finish an assignment. It's 20 questions, they only did 7. We'll still grade it, but we'll put that incomplete. In my class, I allow the kids to go back and completing that. So that would be something that you would definitely want to follow up with your child's teacher about. So I just wanted to show you that information there. For communicating with teachers, the kids have access to the first two. They can remind message, they can email, they can even email through Canvas itself. So everything is in one system. Parents can remind message their teachers. That was automatically set up through PowerSchool. So if you've recently changed a phone number or an email address, you can contact your child's teacher, leave a message at the school or email, and we can get you set back up so that you get daily reminders and information from your teacher. Obviously, you can call the school. I put the school phone number on there. It might just take us a little bit longer to get back to you because that message goes into our mailbox. And so remind, email, or Canvas work best. School resources. Tonight we're going to talk just briefly about Freckle Reading and Math. iReady Math. There is a reading program, but we only use it for the testing at this point during remote learning. We have Khan Academy. There are different apps out there. I'm going to talk briefly about ebooks for accelerated reader. I'm going to talk about the EPIC program, and then school and classroom libraries. We still require reading outside of school. I know that everybody you think that, oh, we're going to add one more thing on top of everything else that we're doing. But we know that you can see our little resource off to the side here is that reading independently helps to improve comprehension. And comprehension is used in every single subject. And we need our students to be able to comprehend. We don't want our students 3 or 4 grade levels behind. We want them on grade level. And so it's really important that they read independently. I told my kids that this quarter they had to have 4 AR points. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through very quickly how easy it is for the students to get those 4 AR points. This is the EPIC. You could still see this, right, Perkins? Yes? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So for EPICs, the kids have a class code. So they would go ahead and they would click on class code. Here's the class code. One thing that I want to explain is EPIC for the kids through my program is only open during school hours. So in the afternoon, when they're finished, if they don't have to attend office hours, they click on the class code, they go into the class, and they can go ahead, click on their name, and they can choose books. The problem is that in the evening, they can't access it. But parents can actually sign up for it. It is completely free. You just have to create your own account. And so it says to keep reading after school hours, you'll need to sign up for free Epic, and a parent just has to do that for their child. It's very easy to run through and to go through and do that. I do want to show you just real quick what it looks like in terms of the kids being able to find a book, so that they can't sit there and say, oh, I can't get a book, I can't earn my points. It's amazing what different resources they have out there for us. So I will log into my account just to show you real quick. Trying to make sure I don't take up all the time. Oh, see, they won't even let me go in. But if you look off to the side over here, you can see for you, you see the thumbs up. Next to it is AR. When the kids click on that, they're able to find fiction, nonfiction, graphic books, like graphic novels, comic books, things along those lines. The books can be read to them. They can read them independently, and they have books that are all the way up through high school. So the kids can definitely find something on here. And what's nice is they're short. They may only be worth 1 point, but they are very quick reads for the kids to get the amount of points and the practice comprehending and reading independently that they need. I'm going to go ahead and walk through Freckle Reading. It is something that I am going to start using with the kids next week in reading. A lot of times at the end of the year, parents get really nervous about the kids having 3 months off at the summer and how much they're going to lose or forget before the start of the school year. What's nice about Freckle is the kids will still be able to access it. And I'm going to go ahead and just show you what it looks like from a student perspective. It's a program that has a lot of different reading activities for students. They all have their own account. They log in and there's reading and math. So I'm going to take you to the student dashboard just so that you can see what the students would see when they log in. Up at the top, they have math. So when they click on math, they can do adaptive math and they can do fact practice. So when the kids click on this, it can take them and they can go through and they can practice different skills. Let's say they had a test recently and it was on measurement and they just didn't do as well as they thought and they're going to be doing a retake or something. They can go on here and they can practice with different skills. They also, under the math, have just fact practice. And if you take a look at this, it goes through and it just asks them to do different things. And so they go through and they just continue to practice their facts. I know that just in working with kids, a lot of them, that's one of their deficits is being able to multiply without using a calculator and things like that. And so that is there for math. I'm more used to using the reading because I am the ELA teacher. And so up here is English. And there's a couple different things. If the kids are at a lower reading level, they can do word study. And the word study will take them through things like reviewing different word blends and phonics and things along those lines. Skill practice is another one that the kids can do. They can do nonfiction, they can do fiction, they can do grammar. But the one that I find the most beneficial to our students is the library. And so when the kids click on here, I always encourage the kids to read nonfiction because nonfiction is written at a higher level, has more challenging vocabulary, and has been proven to help with comprehension. So the kids would just select this, and you will see that there are all kinds of topics, so they can find something that interests them. I always like reading about people's lives, so I always choose biographies, and the kids go through and they can just select anybody that they are interested in reading about. And the kids always go through, they scroll through, they choose someone. And what happens is when the kids next week start, we're actually going to tie this to the STAR test that they just took so that it is at their actual reading level. And so the kids would go through, and so this is at a really low level. I did not tie it to anything, but they would go through, they would read this short article. They can also listen to the article as well. When they get to the end of the article, there are some comprehension questions that they can go through and answer. Let's say they don't do well on it. They can go back and retake it. And the goal is to get them practicing the skills of not only comprehending, but some of them have the higher up in grade that you go, they will focus more on central idea. They will focus on finding details. They'll focus on inferencing. They'll focus on fact and opinion. And so lots of different skills for the kids to participate in. Some of the other things that the kids might see is, especially for my class, going into fourth quarter, they will have here what they are supposed to do. And they might have assignments that have been assigned by their teacher. And these are things that again, will not require them to do outside of school, but they can always check here and see if there's something that they can practice. So I just wanted to introduce you to Freckle because it's something that they can use, but something that they can also do outside of class. One thing that's nice about it is they make it fun. So the kids earn coins, and then with those coins, they have an avatar and they can do different things with the avatar. I know a lot of little kids like doing this, but you would be surprised the number of junior high students that love going into that shop and buying this cool new outfit for their avatar. And so it's kind of a way to tie them in. The more activities they do, the more coins they get, the more they can do with their avatar. And then the last thing that I was going to share was the fourth quarter novel unit that we will be doing. We are actually going to do Sharon Draper. The students that had Mrs. Terry and Ms. Hinton last year read Double Dutch. Sharon Draper is one of Miss Perkins' favorite authors. She actually introduced me to Sharon Draper when I transferred into the 7th grade. Here's a quote by Sharon Draper. "I learned to dream through reading, learned to create dreams through writing, and learned to develop dreamers through teaching. I shall always be a dreamer." And I think that we should always instill in all of our children to dream big and to follow their dreams. And so we are going to read this novel called Tears of a Tiger. And there's a parent letter that I will put in the chat so you can click on the link, but I will also be sending it home with the kids, not sending it home, but sending it via Remind to the students. Beginning fourth quarter, we will read Tears of a Tiger. We've been teaching this novel for many years. It explores issues that teens face and allow them to critically think about situations that may arise in the future. The novel is the first in a series that focuses on the students who attend fictitious Hazelwood High School. Our students love anything that is a series. They love to follow character from book to book to book. So this really reels them in. Some of the key themes in the novel revolve around death and suicide, guilt and blame, and race. Young people often feel invincible in life, but the teens in the novel learn that they are not, and that sometimes there are fatal, life-altering consequences to the decisions that are made. We will be reading Tears of a Tiger together in class. No outside reading will be assigned. Students will be assigned comprehension questions and other activities. We will have class discussions around the themes of the novel. To ensure your child's understanding of the text and key themes, we encourage you to ask him or her questions about the novel, because the majority of your child's fourth quarter literature grade will depend on his or her comprehension of the novel's themes and literary techniques. If you would prefer not to have your child read this particular novel, Ms. Walker-Harris and I are prepared to give them an independent novel study. We understand that not all parents want their child to read something that we deem a young adult book. However, this book is an amazing story. We understand that in today's time with depression and things, that this might be a trigger. And so we fully understand that. And so if you are not comfortable with your child reading about the death and the suicide and some of the race issues that may come up in this, that is perfectly fine. We do have an alternative for them. And so we just want you to understand that this is the novel that we've been teaching for many years and give you time to think about it. You just have to, if you have an issue, just contact your child's ELA teacher by Friday, March 26th. You can message us on an email. see a copy of the book, I can send you a PDF so that you can read through it on your own to make that decision. But I did want to just share this information with you so that you had it readily available. And I will now turn it over to Ms. Coffey.
Hi, everybody. I will be introducing you all, or making you more comfortable with, the iReady program. It is the online component that goes with our current curriculum, which is Ready Mathematics. With our actual classroom curriculum, of course, it is geared at the 7th grade level. However, with the iReady component, it actually gauges where the students are individually. So it doesn't just teach at the 7th grade level. And they all start off with what is called the diagnostic test. So I'm going to share what iReady looks like for our students. Okay, so when they first go into iReady, they would enter that through Clever. So on their iPad, there is an icon or an app that is blue with a white C on it. This is where students will access all of the apps that are available to them through the school or the district. So this is the iReady icon. This is how they access it. So they would just click on that and it will take them to their particular iReady lesson. Okay, so of course, iReady has a reading component as well as a math component. Now, the thing is, before they are able to get any of the lessons that are available, they have to go through the iReady diagnostic test. And this tells you exactly where students, where they are in the different areas that the different areas of math that our standards come from. So it's very, very possible that students don't always score at the same level across those different standards. So let's say, for instance, if I was maybe not so strong in geometry, I might be a little lower, but then there might be other areas where I may even be beyond the 7th grade level. So iReady actually gears lessons towards those individual areas for the student individually. So we do not pit them against any other student. It's just where they are. So in this particular case, I'm going to click on math. On the left side of the screen, this is where the teacher assigned lessons will come from. So these are geared toward what the student is actually learning within the classroom. So the teacher will assign those as more practice for what they're currently learning. Now, the part where it gauges where the students are individually, that is the My Path part. Now, this particular student has already begun their first lesson, so it's in progress. And then it will take them to a bit of practice. So once you see this, you can click on what they call objectives, and this will tell you exactly what it is that they're supposed to be learning within this lesson. Now, the thing is, once they take the iReady test, the diagnostic test, it will automatically populate 20 lessons that are geared towards where they are as an individual. Even as they finish lessons, it will provide another lesson in its place. So there are always lessons there. The students never finish. So as they progress, the whole purpose of this is to see the student grow. So let's say, for instance, if a student is performing at the 5th grade level in number sense and operations, it's going to give them a lesson that is at their level. It's going to teach them how to do the particular concept. And then it's going to give them practice along the way. Now, before they can get out of that lesson, they're going to be quizzed on it to make sure that they have mastered it. If they have mastered it, it will take them to the next level. And they don't just keep them in that same vein all the time. They will mix it up. So they will take them to different areas where they're scored differently. So they don't just get stuck doing the same thing all the time. Once again, once they finish a lesson, it's going to give them another lesson in its place. So once again, students never finish. So it just continues to push them further and further so that they are able to see growth at their level. So they should never actually encounter a lesson where it's way, way, way too hard for them. It starts at their level, and then it will give them another lesson that's a little bit above, and it continues to stretch them more and more so they can start growing in each individual area. So the thing is, for the students who maybe are not strong or have gaps, maybe a grade level below or even more, that's okay. The whole purpose is for them to see growth, and that helps to build their confidence as they move forward. And hopefully we can bridge those gaps in those identified areas where they were deficient. Also, let's say, for instance, a student was already at grade level, where they're going to give them lessons as well and help to push them forward so maybe they can even move beyond the grade level. So there is something for every single student. Now, at the very beginning, let's go back. If you notice down here, this is a tutorial or information for parents to use. It says using iReady at home. So you can actually click on this and it will tell you different things that you can do to help your students. Now, if we notice along the bottom, on this first page, it's always going to tell you what's currently available to you. So anything that the teacher has assigned, that'll be on the left. Where you are as an individual, that will be on the right. If you look on the bottom, we have My Progress. So this will tell you where you are in your path. Then we have My Stuff. Okay, so we got some few games and all the things of that nature that you can get as you learn new things, and it's almost like an incentive, like the coins are for Freckle, as Ms. O'Shea talked about. If we look at the bookshelf, this is where you will see things for our current curriculum. So this is the 7th grade book. So if ever your child is, say for instance, they're not at home, but they're able to take their iPad with them if they're at someone else's house, they can click on this, and every single lesson that we have, these are actual book pages from our book. They can click on it and it's available in PDF form. Okay, right here we have tools that they can use to actually go through their lessons. So if they need a number line, they can click on that and they can use that within their lesson. If they are working on a lesson on perimeter and area, they can click on this tool and they're able to use this as well. So lots of goodies here for everybody that needs them for whatever particular area that they're working on. Also, there are learning games that they can use. So this also helps them in their development as they're going through their particular lessons, and they're geared to stretch our students. We don't want them to stay at the same level that they are right now. We always want them to be growing and moving forward. So unlike some of other resources, this is available 24/7. It's not just through our particular school hours. They can work on this day or night. So if they happen to finish their homework and you need something for them to do, or to make sure that we're bridging those gaps, because let's be honest, we have been out of the school building for a year. So we always want students to be moving forward. It's going to help to bridge those gaps that we know that some of them had, but also push them forward. So some in areas we can actually get them to grade level, and for some actually move beyond our grade level. So anything that you possibly need here is right there for you. And if a student is still having issues in some of the areas that they're being tested on or being quizzed on for the lessons, then they can also reach out to their teacher. We will be checking in from time to time to see where the students are to make sure that they're making the necessary progress. So that's all I have. So I think I will be turning this back to Ms. Perkins.
Yes, ma'am. We are almost there. We're coming around the mountain, as they say. Thank you, Ms. O'Shea and Ms. Coffey, for going through our resources. So parents, as you can see, we're teaching them where they are, but we also want to fill gaps, any gaps that they still have. And so if they use those resources, we can close the gap even while they're away from us. So I would like to thank all of you for coming. There's only a few more things we need to cover. Our teachers have arranged for your child to receive 10 points of extra credit for every class since you are present. And what I would need for you to do is type your child's first and last name in the chat for me. Type your child's first and last name in the chat for us so that we can award your child with 10 extra credit points for your attendance this evening. Our next steps, where do we go from here? It is my hope to decrease the number of Fs in quarter 4. Our quarter ends next week on the 25th, 26th. So I don't know how much we can get accomplished in a week, but I just want you to be aware, if we can get those missing assignments off of their grade sheets, we can diminish the number of Fs. I want them to finish third quarter strong, do what they can, complete the assignments that are recent. Increase the number of students attending office hours. As I stated, it's usually 2 or 3 when I go in. I want to increase that number so that they can get the support that they need. That's why our teachers are there. I want to see more on this honor roll. I'm hoping we can reach 50 or more. We're at 36, 38. We can do this. And I also want to close the achievement gap. As Ms. Coffey stated, we've been in this situation for a year now. So if they came to 7th grade with a gap, we've just made the gap even wider because they're not with us. And this environment is a little different for them. Now I will say we were ahead of the game, as it compares to some other districts who were not one-to-one. We were already one-to-one before this happened. But we never intended for it to go on this long, right? We thought they would be out for a few weeks and they would be back. So I really want them practicing using those tools that were shared by our teachers so that they can continue working on closing the academic gaps. Let's see. I know I need to talk about this 5 essential survey. Just want to share, every successful person begins with 2 beliefs. The future can be better than the present, and I have the power to make it so. So I believe we can still grow even in this situation. So the 5 essential survey does come from the state. And basically they're saying there's 5 essential factors for school improvement, things that we always need to be focused on. We need to focus on effective leaders. We need to focus on teachers that are collaborating and working together. We need involved families. We need a supportive environment for our students, and we need ambitious instruction. And so that goes back to the whole village discussion that I shared with you, that it's going to take all of us, Ms. Perkins, Dr. Farrell, Mr. Ingram, all of our staff, our families, and our students, in order to make this year as successful as we can. So we are asking our families to complete the 5 essential survey. Dr. Farrell did put it in the chat, and any parent that completes it, we really need you to do it if you can. It's not going to be that long. We are going to put your name in a drawing and you will earn a gift card. I believe it's $100. I'm not sure how many he's given out, but that's our way to encourage you to go ahead and share your feedback about what your child is experiencing in our district and how we can improve it. And so we will be taking a look at the survey when you have completed it. It's not just for the state, it's for our school improvement. It's a way for us to improve on what we are doing. So if you go to the chat, you will find it there. We are at the end. So we have about 10 minutes left. If you have any questions that were not answered that are in the chat, we will run through the chat real quickly and see if there's anything that we need to answer for you. While we're doing that, if you see the 5 essential survey in that chat from Dr. Farrell, Principal Farrell, you can complete it while we're still here with you. And Ms. Lokema will come back on to close us out while we're reviewing the questions. Ms. O'Shea, do we have any questions?
Yes, for Freckle, that is in your child's Clever, which is a single sign-on app that is on all of their iPads. It is also on the district webpage. They can click on Clever and they can access everything. They can access Freckle, they can access iReady, they can access Renaissance, which is where they would take AR tests and everything right then and there, right from Clever. And so it's a very easy way for the students to log in. So when we're finished, you can always ask your child to show you. They all know how to do it. We did it today for the students taking the iReady reading test this week. So the kids know how to do that, and you can go ahead and have them show you how they log on to that. Freckle, I will give the students the class code next week. That's when I'm going through how to use the program and how they can practice individually, and also how they will get assignments from me.
Okay. Again, while you're here, if you can do that parent survey, and we'll still be answering questions.
For attendance, I can address that question, and I think that maybe Dr. Farrell or Ms. Perkins can piggyback onto it. We take attendance for the day, what is submitted to the office through Power School just for homeroom. Because the kids are not in their classes that they necessarily appear in Power School, they're actually in different groupings. We keep track of it on a spreadsheet, and the office then looks at that, and they determine that if a kid is absent several times, or they just skip a few classes, then it may be something where they're marked absent for the day, but phone calls should be going home. I know that I regularly, when I see a student that isn't in class, I try to make sure that I message parents and say, hey, I didn't see so-and-so this week. Is something going on? So we're tracking it on our end. We're just not tracking it in Power School except for that homeroom. And after we take it in homeroom, the office goes in and they make changes throughout the day as they review our attendance spreadsheets. So hopefully
That's correct. So parents, please make sure our students are logging in for that homeroom. It's really short. It's literally only 5 minutes and they're off to the next class. But that is where our initial attendance takes place, in that homeroom. And then as Ms. O'Shea said, our office staff, they do go through what the teachers submit. And so if our office finds that a teacher has been, a student has been absent for, say 3 or 4 of their classes, they may mark your students as a half day attendance, or they may contact you. So we need them in at homeroom at 8:35, and we need them to stay with us throughout the day so that our attendance count will be accurate. Good question.
Is that for next school year, our start date? I know that the district's still talking about the opening plan, and so that information will be coming out hopefully soon.
Was it our start date?
For next school year, yes.
Yes, so parents, that is pending. Great news. Our junior high will undergo a facelift over the summer. Our elementary side was just redone. It's absolutely beautiful. The floors were redone, the classrooms were redone, the bathrooms were redone. Same thing happened with the bathrooms on the junior high side, but starting this summer, we will be working on the classrooms on the junior high side. So our calendar is a work in progress, but yes, you will get that information very soon. It won't be like May. We're working on it now, just making sure that our start date can accommodate the work that's being done in the building. Okay. Is that all for the questions? Because I think Locum is going to wrap up.
Yeah, there's one more question in here about summer school and 7th grade remaining remote. I think those are the last two.
Okay, so summer school is pending. If there is summer school, it will be remote. It will not be in the building for the same reasons that I just shared, because there will be construction happening on the junior high side. I believe the hours, the time, it might be like an extended day. It may come like after school, sometime in April or May, but it may roll through June. That is still pending. And then what was the other question? But I know it won't be in the building. I will tell you that. If we do summer school, it will be remote, unfortunately. And about junior high students coming back in the building. So the admin team is going to monitor how this first group comes back. And then we will determine how we will roll out the junior high, if we will roll out the junior high. So it was easier first to focus on our K-5 or pre-K-5 because they are self-contained. As you all know, our junior high students move from one group to another. And so there was some concern about the mixing with different groups. And if there is an outbreak, you know, if we would have to shut down the entire junior high side. So that is still a work in progress. We will see how this rollout goes. I will tell you, we're looking to get them back in the building at least for testing. If you are open for IAR testing, that is going to occur after spring break, which is after the 12th or the 13th. And we will probably bring in small groups of junior high students whose parents want them to test. That, of course, is pending, but our goal is to at least get them in the building for testing because they cannot take the IAR assessment remotely. It has to be taken in our presence. And then after that, we'll see how we can bring them back in for instruction for the last few weeks or month. Thank you for your questions. Good question. Okay, Ms. Lokema, it's all yours at 6:57 with 3 minutes remaining. I just want to thank the parents for showing up. I'm really excited at the number that we received. Thank you for coming, and make sure your child's name is in that chat. We want every child to earn the points that we said they would get for your attendance.
Thank you to our presenters, Ms. Perkins, Ms. Coffey, and Ms. O'Shea, and thank you to all of you for joining us for this evening's Parent Academy. If you enjoyed tonight's webinar, you can view a schedule of all of our upcoming webinars on the SD 150 district website. And as always, you can view past webinars by going to the technology section of the district website at www.sd150.org.